Why the hell not a podcast? Does it really matter, Eddie? We all make bad decisions. Don't deny it. I mean, I'm here doing this bad decision. And you, well, you're watching. So, again, bad decision. Before I kick this off, I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to those of you that reached out, offering prayers, good vibes, blessings, etc. after the renal cancer diagnosis and the surgery that came with it. Lord ain't ready for me, and old Scratch don't want me taking over. I'm fine, just the whole thing with not just the surgery, but the meds I got. They're just kicking this old man's ass with exhaustion. So doing full-on podcasts are a bit much, and I decided just to take some downtime, which affected no one in any way, any more than me doing this unresting affects anyone. I thought about just blogging shit. I could go at my own pace, make mistakes, delete, redo. And with filming, not so much. Plus, I wouldn't have to gussy up like this. You think this shit's easy? But that would have required you to read words. Lots and lots of words. And ain't nobody got time for that. So, I shall say sorry, not sorry. I'm Sweet Lou. And you're damn right. I'm off my rocker. Previously did film a Record Store Day podcast, but I didn't have enough gas in the engine to finish. Then the light went on. I thought, why not do several shorter podcasts? Let's see how that plan goes with this one. Define shorter. Let's find out. First, I just want to give props. In these, I'll be wearing some shirts from places. Not only have I shot Record Store Day this year and many others, but some that are up-and-comers. Vintage Mio Records. You can find them on Facebook. This Ep.1, Armando wasn't able to secure a Record Store Day contract. I think it was some timing error that they got to them with a sorry, not sorry, you got this late. Armando, I hope you do get it. You'll kill it this year for Black Friday. Vintage Mio Records on Facebook. Visit them. Now, Record Store Day was held on April 12th of this year. What is the RSD obsession I have? Well, I'm glad you asked. First, it's not an obsession. Vinyl collecting is. And let me make that perfectly clear. RSD is just that enabler. That's true in theory anyways. Sometimes there are bangers, sometimes there are nuclear disaster. This year was no different. More on that obviously in these episodes. Now after viewing this, it may appear I buy a shit ton of Record Store Day releases, but for good reason. New releases from bands I already love and collect are few and far between. Releases from newer bands and new music, well, I cheat with screaming. And most of the time the money versus the reward in listening is minimal. Then there's the size of my collection. There are albums that I won't spin for months or years, frankly. So I'm particular what I'll add because it's got to be worth the money compared to my listening. The only other vinyl would be personal grails that I would buy, usually ones that go for hundreds of dollars or thousands, and I don't have the liquid cash or the credit line for that kind of silliness, but I still love the hunt. Record Store Day offers up some cool selections that interest me, and I only need to shop twice a year. That's April RSD, and then in November for RSD Black Friday. Record Store Day offers up a lot of albums that may have never been released on vinyl, never released at all, not to mention special outtakes and unreleases by some artists. Some of the releases may have been part of the box set that was issued, and the only way you can get that box set was by not spending like $50. I'm talking about spending a couple hundred honeys. This year there were 2 or 3 of these type of RSD releases that I really wanted. Did I get it? Guess we'll have to find out and see. Let me just explain the 3 types of record store day releases there are, in case you don't know, in case you may be interested, and in case you're just sitting here wasting time like me. There's RSD exclusives. The key feature is that these releases aren't available anywhere else, making them unique to record store day. They can be either new releases or special reissues, most often pressed on a unique vinyl or with other special packaging. Then you have your RSD limited run / regional focus releases. Typically, they have smaller quantities, under 1,000 total units pressed. It can also mean a release from an artist that will be easier to find in a specific city or region, most likely from an artist hailing from that particular place. Duh. And the ever-popular RSD First, usually a special variant produced for record store day with probably a standard black version that'll be released later on, and both the record store day exclusives and First could be the first time there was a vinyl pressing of that release. So now you know. Leading up to record store day, I have a system, or shall I say a ritual. It's a go-to record store day website where they'll offer that day, particular record store day's selections. Now, a lot of times you'll get this, you'll print it off, or at worst look at it, and come record store day, those records aren't around. That happens. Sometimes they'll push off the release for Black Friday or even indefinitely. And then there are some that you don't know are released, which are surprises. But if your store doesn't have it, or you don't shop online the day after record store day, with a lot of independent record stores do, because they carry on that promise that they sign with record store day, not to sell over MSRP, and if they do it online, they aren't allowed to do auctions, and they're not allowed to sell for over MSRP. My main one that I go to is Record Bar in Wilmington, North Carolina. What's up, Tony? What's up, Record Bar crew? Tony gets a great selection, and the thing is, that great selection is on Saturday. It's a greater selection on either that Friday, if it's Black Friday, or that Sunday. I don't know if I said something. See, it's the whole exhaustion thing. Anyways, if it's the following day from record store day in April, or the record store day Black Friday, Tony offers his customers to come in and go to his record store to purchase their record store day albums. And record store day really started as an idea not to just have releases, but to gain renewed interest in going into a physical brick and mortar store. This year, before I move on, I knew I wanted to do something. I'll show you a couple things I did pick up on record store day. Basically, they were Billy Idol albums. I got a limited edition of Billy's new album, Dream Into It. Why? Because I had already pre-ordered the black one with the autograph insert in it. I'm not going to take it out. I package all mine. Can you see these? I think I can see them there. But I picked this up while I was in the record store, and I got a pretty badass first pressing, which I already had, but not in this condition, with the hype sticker and a perfect piece of vinyl, and the poster that came with it, and the $5.98 sticker. And after all these years, I negotiated with the record store and said, hey, I'm buying all this. What do you say you sell this to me for $10 instead of the $30 you're looking for? And they did. So I went in there, I bought record store day records, at least the ones I wanted, that they still had, and then I picked up a couple that I wanted to add to my collection. And the new Billy Idol, while it's not screaming punk rock, pop punk Godfather Billy Idol, it is a beautiful album. You've got to listen to it. If you listen to it on streaming, there's a song called Like Back in 77 with Avril Lavigne on it. Thankfully, on the vinyl releases, there is no Avril Lavigne, and it sounds better. So, okay. Now, back to record store day. I print off the sheets, and the first round that I do is I take a yellow highlighter, I zip down, I look at the artists as being released, and an artist that catches my attention, I highlight. Then, after I go through it, not once but twice, you gotta make sure, because their alphabet is fucking wacky. I mean, the Cure is up with the C's, and then the Cure's in the T's. Two different releases this year, two different pages. Then what I'll do is I'll go through and again go down the artist, and then I'll take a different color highlighter as I'm going through checking them out, because Record Store Day website offers description of what it is. Normally, excuse me, if I see like it's a 7-inch or 12-inch, unless it's a band I collect or a song that, like Billy Joel released a 45, not through Record Store Day, but through his website, that it wasn't on an album, I bought it. But if it's just some cash grab 45 collector type thing, I exit off. I won't buy it, and I won't buy singles, simply because I won't listen to them unless I'm in my reading room with the fireplace, where I do have a console turntable where I can drop and stack the otherwise, pain in the ass. So once I get the descriptions, I'll highlight the orange ones, and with orange, and I'll go, okay, let's see. So I got my initial interest with the yellow, check them out with the orange. Then I go through and make a wish list with the green to the side. And while I'm doing these, they also put the amount of pressings for the most part on all of these. That way I make notation how many there are. Because if it's going to be a hot one, even with 17,000 pressings, you'd be surprised how the only way you're getting it is the following day, and you're going to pay top dollar for it. Don't do it. More on that later. So, and then I make a list with a check mark of my want list. So I started out interested in 92 of the 330 plus individual releases, which from 2008 Record Store Day, which I'll do a whole different thing on, and their 10 releases, Record Store Day has grown. So after I went through the 92, I knocked it down to about 70 I had real interest in. Then my wish list went down to 61, and then my definite wants went down to about 30. And over the course of several days, my buy list went up and above. So there you go. Enough on with the show. Now I'm going to start with the smalls, and these are the 7-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch singles that, again, I don't buy many of. And there were a lot this year, as there usually are, because there are a lot of collectors that collect singles and 45s. I'm not one of those guys. If it fits into an artist that I collect, that I want to collect all the official stuff from, I'll buy it. This year there were 3. And the first one, Motley Crue. Nice picture disc. I'm not going to take it out of the packaging again. There were 2,500 pressings of this disc. So I thought there'd be a lot around. And I was wrong. This is a picture disc that contains 2 of the band's biggest singles. A buy that wasn't for anything more than to add to my sleaziest rock and roll band collection of Motley fucking Crue. Look, this isn't 1985. There's no need to own a $50 picture disc of Smoking in the Boys' Room with Home Sweet Home on the B-side. None of that mattered. Motley's one of my favorite bands and one of the most fun bands that I have seen in concert many times over. From when they played June 6th, 1981, where I first saw them at the Troubadour, to Wednesday, February 2nd, 1983, opening for Ozzy on their first arena tour at the Civic Arena here in Pittsburgh. Then later on that year, Sunday, May 29th, 1983, I was in the sweltering heat at the US Festival in San Bernardino. To June 12th, 1984, when they headlined their first show in Pittsburgh at the Stanley Theater. And from that day forth, I'm never going to escape the horrible vision I have to deal with of Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee enjoying 2 local female DJs in front of my naked, steaming, and soon to be watering, crying eyes. I was forever scarred, well before all of you others saw the Tommy and Pam video that came out, and most men felt inferior. Yeah, saw it long before that. Yet, I'd see Motley Crue another 29 times throughout their farewell to the psych. We said farewell, not goodbye stadium tour. I've seen them at the beginnings, at their best, at their worst, at their our singer isn't blonde, but he has a voice that'll blow your mind. Just not with our back catalog stuff. And at their, well, looking at your concert buddy, saying, at least we had fun, huh? Phases. And I will continue handing money over and without apology for a stagger down memory lane when it comes to Motley Crue. A side note, Motley, if whatever's going on with Vince is more serious than we believe, here's a tip. Karabi and Bach together fronting the band. Krabs can do the 94 and unreleased stuff that all of us actually love, and Bach can take a turn on Vinny's Crue era music. Okay, thanks for that interruption. And back to our regularly scheduled boredom. This purchase wasn't a vanity buy per se. No one's buying that album as a flex or holding on to because it's going to one day be worth thousands of dollars. But I will tell you, it is going for in excess of $100 a copy now, some even higher from the regular record store day pricing. So if you're looking to pick up a copy, you're going to pay. And unless you're some kind of knucklehead like me, believe me, it's not worth paying $120, $150, $200 for. This buy doesn't get a grade for anything more than it just being a cool addition to the collection. But shockingly, it does sound really good, so I gave it a 4 out of 5. Next up, one of my favorite vocalists, Scott Weiland. It's a 7-inch. There were only 1,200 pressings of this, and yes, again, there are collectors that only collect these singles. I got it out of my love for Weiland's voice, but drugs are bad, okay? I love a good Hollywood ending. I don't like a rock star ending, and damn it, what a talent. This record store day release, as I said, limited edition 7-inch, 2 rare tracks from his Happy and Galoshes era, both making their vinyl debut. Side A, I Know It's Too Late, is a haunting and introspective track, originally recorded as a bonus cut for the '08 album. It's one that seems deeply personal to me, that showcases Weiland's vulnerability and his melodic instincts outside of STP and Velvet Revolver's spotlight. It's a kind of track that really sticks with you and lingers long after that needle pops up. I Know It's Too Late earns its haunting quality through a blend of lyrical vulnerability, atmospheric production, and again, Weiland's signature delivery, that mix of weariness and yearning that always felt like it came from somewhere deep. The lyrics are steeped in regret and emotional disconnection. Take a line like, I pulled down a blouse of uncomfortable silence to feel my connection with you, and you talk in your sleep when you're walking around like nobody but somebody else. It evokes a relationship just fraying at the edges, where the intimacy is both desired and elusive. And there's a surreal, almost dreamlike quality to that imagery, like he's trying to grasp something that he's already had and slipped away. His vocal, again, fragile but resolute, feels like someone trying to hold on to the meaning in the face of inevitable loss. It's introspective, obviously, and it doesn't offer that resolution. Side B is a live version of Missing in Cleveland, his breakout solo single captured during a 2009 performance at the Fonda Theater. It's raw, electric, and a reminder how commanding he was on stage, even in his solo years. And STP released the live album that, unfortunately, I will tell you now, I didn't find the same love for as I did this single. Pressed on a vibrant orange vinyl, sources call it tangerine. As I said, 1,200 copies, available only on Record Store Day. It's a sweet nod to Weiland's legacy, both the polished studio side and the live energy. Record Store Day in the past has released Weiland's 12-bar blues, which is killer. I have loved that since I got the CD when it was released. I listened to it nonstop. And I was the anti-grunge guy, obviously, because they took the fun away. But the music, holy shit. And now I believe they released the Christmas album. I only hope the next go-round, be it Black Friday or April 26th, Record Store Day, they do Happy in Galoshes on a vinyl release. Now, I don't give 5 out of 5s very easily, especially with some single. This is going to be the unicorn. It's not just that I gave it a 5 out of 5, but I gave it that score, and it's a pesky 7-inch single. Okay, finally, I'll bring this smallest to an end with a release by an artist I lose and will lose any credibility from my rock fan friends. Of course, I mean Taylor Swift. With my guy, Post Malone, and Taylor on Fortnite. This isn't just the lead single from the Tortured Poets department. This really is the emotional cornerstone of the whole album. Taylor Swift uses the song to explore the aftermath of, once again, a brief but devastating relationship. And I'm starting to think it's her, not them. One that left a permanent mark despite its short duration, a fortnight being 2 weeks. We've all had those. At its core, the song's about emotional fallout, the kind that lingers long after the romance ends. And T Swift sings about being a functioning alcoholic till nobody noticed my new aesthetic. Was she hinting at self-destruction? Masked as reinvention? I don't know. But that whole album is daunting. Lyrics are laced with fatalism and longing, with lines like, I love you, it's ruining my life. And it captures that melodramatic intensity of the heartbreak that feels all-consuming, and it doesn't feel fake. Duet with Posty adds another haunting duality, his voice echoing with hers like a ghost of the relationship. It's like she's stuck in a loop of memory and regret and can't move on, even though she may have found the miracle move on drug. She did describe the song as taking place in a town where the American dream you thought would happen didn't. I don't think, if Taylor's only looking for a relationship, get used to the property there, sweetheart. But everything else outside of relationship, you kind of got it all. But the song is about quiet devastation, and the kind that simmers beneath the polite small talk and manicured lawn. It was chosen for Record Store Day not just because it's a hit, but it's a cultural snapshot of heartbreak in the digital age and kids today. Pressed on vinyl for permanence, for when the grid goes down and you can't stream anymore. Again, I absolutely love this song. And if half of you didn't see the Dame Taylor Swift and took the blind taste test, you'd be shocked how much you'd like it. Well, now if you're still here, good for you. Don't worry, I've got some other picks with questionable rock street cred. The next one, probably one of them, but not for me. Aha, the Hunting High and Low. The demos, very cool, released on crystal clear vinyl, but I already made notation. This does give a rare glimpse into the early creative process behind the band's iconic 85 album. Released as an exclusive, this collection features demo versions of all 10 original tracks, including the hits Take On Me, Don't Deny It. It's a guilty pleasure for a lot of you. The Sun Always Shines on TV, and the title track, Hunting High and Low. Now, what made this a special release overall, and a reason I picked it up, is just these demos were recorded in '84 before final studio versions were produced. So they're raw and unpolished, and they showcase the band's evolving sound. More stripped down, experimental, and emotionally raw. I did not buy it for the crystal clear vinyl, nor the 3,000 copies that was available. One of my gripes was basically the price tag. Sleeve design's cool, packaging's kind of inspired by the 85 release. You get a couple unseen photos, and track list, again, you got Take On Me, Train of Thought, Blue Sky, Living a Boy's Adventure Tale, Here I Stand and Face the Rain, all demos. It isn't just a throwback, it's kind of a cool time capsule that captures Aha's early ambition and sonic experimentation before they became synth pop legends. I give this one a 4 out of 5. It just reinforces my love and respect for. Now, this next one got a fiery resurrection for Record Store Day. I am speaking about Black Sabbath's Eternal Idol. Man, it's a treat for fans both who were familiar with the Tony Martin era or who were unaware of the Tony Martin era. And here's the lowdown of this. Originally, it was released in '87. Eternal Idol was a new chapter for Sabbath, with Tony stepping in as lead vocalist. The band's 13th studio album. And Tony's arrival gave Sabbath that powerful melodic voice that would define a lot of their 80s and early 90s sound. Though he didn't write any of the lyrics, his performance helped stabilize the band's identity. Now, his voice is, to me, is like a cross between the great former Black Sabbath singer Ronnie James Dio and Don Dokken, at least to me. Since I love both, I don't know how I slept on this album back in the day. I know I owned it, but I also know I played it in the car on cassette maybe twice, and shame on me, because it is a killer album. Now, didn't come without its own little chaos going on. It was, as I said, he stepped in, but he stepped in after that album had already started production with vocalist Ray Gillen. They decided to let Martin re-record all the vocals. Bob Daisley on bass and Eric Singer of Kiss also contributed, but they didn't stay with the band. And despite legal troubles, management shakeups, and personal struggles on Iommi's part, yeah, you know he had some battles. They included Lita Ford too. Yeah. The album was completed and released, a testament to Tony's determination to keep Sabbath alive. It did get the old cult status over the years, but it definitely was not a commercial blockbuster. EI has gained some juice over the years, and it's praised for its dark, dramatic tone, and is seen as a turning point that paved the way for later Iommi and Martin releases. This Record Store Day edition is vinyl only, and a wider release is expected to happen later this summer, maybe on CD, digital, and black formats. This version that they'll release might have bonus tracks like Black Moon and Some Kind of Woman, though nothing's confirmed yet. And I'll probably buy a copy of that too, simply for that, because Sabbath, it would be part of my Mount Rushmore of rock bands. It came pressed on 140-gram translucent ruby red vinyl. Whoopee. 6,000 copies. It was remastered. Yes, newly remastered version of the original. And sadly, didn't get the bonus tracks, just the core. The vinyl came in a protective paper sleeve. Big difference for me when they offer those. Had a nice insert with lyrics, some liner notes. Could it have been better? Of course it could have. But I'll be honest with you, $25, that was a deal. And at least they tried. Let's see, what do we have now? I know I thought I changed all this, but one of my favorite bands from back in the day, Collective Soul. Not sure. It's tough for me to see through there. Now, it is on kind of give you a glimpse of that before I go into it. This is a first ever vinyl pressing of Blender. Never on vinyl before. Came out in 2000 during the CD era, and that makes this edition historically significant for fans like me, who've waited 25 years just to slap that down on a turntable and feel the sonicness. While that one, unlike Eternal Idol, isn't marketed as remastered, a lot of the reviews that I've read, because my ears are shot, frankly, so I could listen to the disc or the stream. I couldn't listen to this. I'd have to listen to the stream. They suggest the audio's been optimized for vinyl, offering an improved clarity, warmth, and dynamic range compared to the digital release. I'll take their word for it. This is the album's 25th anniversary, and it doesn't include any extras like liner notes or bonus tracks. the package and presentation are tailored for the occasion. I colored vinyl, big whip. I'm not looking at the colors. I mean, when I pull it out, yeah, it looks cool. That's it. Give me the black. That's all I need. Put the money for the coloring into something worthwhile. Now, my blender may not have had that spiritual introspection of hints, allegations, or that riff-heavy punch of dosage, what was released last record store day. It is a sincere and well-crafted album that does catch the band evolving without losing who they were. Again, Cobalt Pressing, 3,000 offered up. Believe that's worldwide. The good, as I said, the sound quality, vinyl's audio clarity and warmth. As I said, it wasn't officially labeled remastered, but there may be some improvements, especially the low end and vocal separation, according to some reviews I did read. And knowing what I know now about Ed Roland, he probably put some of his genius into making this re-release sound spectacular. Outside of musical content, not much to drool over here. It's just the first time on vinyl, and Sweet Lou here is a Collective Soul fan, and I can't wait to see them this summer. It's just completing the circle for me in a form that I'll listen to over and over. Again, not a vanity buy or a flex. Now, the not so good, lack of bonus content. It didn't have extras like liner notes or the unreleased tracks that I know they have. It wasn't even a gatefold sleeve. And for a 25th anniversary, you have some expectations. I'd expect some more archival material or behind the scenes stuff. As far as packaging, again, super basic, nothing elaborate. The jacket and the pressing, basic, sturdy, well-made, free of warps. Okay, that's expected. It is what it is. The pricing didn't match the basicness. $35 to $40, depending upon where you picked it up. For a single LP with no frills, it's a little steep in my opinion. Collective Soul are one of those bands that have been putting out a lot of physical product over the past few years, including their newest, Here to Eternity, which, killer, one of their most ambitious projects yet, especially in 2025. It's crazy. The album was recorded in an iconic setting, a home once owned by the King, Elvis Presley, who had recorded some of his songs there, probably the gospel stuff, definitely not the early Bobby Socker or whatever they called those poodle skirt wearing girls back in the day. But only Elvis and Collective Soul have recorded there. Look, I hate to give this a 3 out of 5, but overall, that's what it is. As a musical release, definitely a 4 out of 5. If you can get it for the right price, don't sleep on it. Snag that thing. Don't pay more than the $45 that it was listed for. Here is one I was looking forward to, and let's just say a unicorn. David Bowie, Ready, Set, Go, live in 2003. Here's a little shot of the back. It's a gatefold. No, this wasn't. This was an odd sort. I'm not going to take it out of the wrap because I normally will keep them if they're not gatefolds, sealed, but open so I can pull them out. Just, I don't tear the cover off. Shut up. This is a dazzling time capsule from a groundbreaking moment in Bowie music history. It was released exclusively this year for Record Store Day, limited edition, captures Bowie's September 8, 2003 performance at Riverside Studios in Hammersmith, a show that was as much a technological marvel as it was a musical one. This wasn't just any concert. No. This was the largest live and interactive satellite music event of its time. It was broadcast to 86 cinemas in 26 countries. It featured a live Q&A with fans hosted by Jonathan Ross. And it was the first satellite event in 5.0 DTS surround sound. My. It was mixed by longtime Bowie collaborator Tony Visconti. Performance was the live debut of Bowie's 2003 album Reality. It was played in full, and this release includes the entire 11-song main set, 3 previously unreleased encore tracks. It was available as a 14-track double LP, which is what I got, and on CD. Some of the highlights: New Killer Star, Pablo Picasso, Bring Me the Disco King, Hello Space Boy, and Afraid. If you're looking for greatest hits, there's plenty out there, including the follow-up. This is for the fan that appreciates Bowie's full career of all his changes. It's just a fascinating contrast to, as I said, more polished A Reality Tour live album from later that same year. Now, that gave you the broader career-spanning set list and stadium-scale production. But Ready, Set, Go is Bowie in an intimate, experimental mode. Isn't he always? Leaner, yes, thin white Duke guy. Riskier, and arguably more emotionally immediate. Not to the heights of Black Star. Now, what makes this 6,400 copy worldwide so special? Well, it's 2 LP, 180 gram, heavyweight vinyl, pressed on black. That's special to me alone. No color, no kitschy bullshit pressing dressing here. But it includes a nice cool replica poster of the 2003 event package nicely. But wait, there's more. The 3 encore tracks included are Hello Space Boy, Pixies cover of Cactus, and Afraid. These tracks were performed after Bowie and his band completed the full Reality album set. They weren't part of the original broadcast either, nor the DVD release, making the appearance on this release a special treat. All making this $40 purchase not a cash grab. Problem is, most Bowie fans are more casual, and this release is not for hardcore fans alone, but fans who have followed his whole career. This one got a 5 out of 5 for me. Very, very few this year. So, there's that. Now, let me see. What is the next album? Oh. This isn't just a live album. It's a time capsule of a band at their peak during their explosive tour in Japan, which I already have in my collection, the original release and the original Japanese import. But yes, I'm speaking of Dokken, featuring Don Dokken, George Lynch, Wild Mick Brown, and the super talented Jeff Pilson. It's funny because this wasn't the band phoning it in between studio albums, or like they did in a lot of the concerts that I saw over the years before the original breakup. It was either I got to see a super great Don Dokken and a not so great George Lynch, or I saw a really great George Lynch and a not so good Don Dokken. And then occasionally I got the 2 were not so good, making it a decent performance, and I've seen 1 or 2 where they just kicked ass. On this, the energy's electric, Lynch's guitar work is feral, Don Dokken's vocals sharp, commanding, and along with Jeff Pilson's backing vocals. And the rhythm section, speaking of Pilson and Mick Brown, keeps everything locked in with an arena-size precision. If the band could have only kept their shit together on a consistent basis like they appear here, they may have reached that level of popularity that they missed. And I've been the biggest Dokken fan since I first heard that first album in Breaking the Chains. I've seen them live, as I said, as a band 14 times. Twice after the breakup with George, and then 2 times with Don and no Lynch. Plus, a little club I owned called the Dead Horse Cantina. I actually had Don Dokken perform an acoustic show. And it was at a time where, if you had seen some U2 clips, Don's voice was, man, not so great. But from the time those U2 clips were filmed and the time he appeared at my club, he hadn't done many shows. And he had some surgery on his throat, and he told me stories about it, which was just really cool. But I hadn't heard him sing because we were sitting up in the hotel bar much earlier in the day before sound check, and he was telling me a little about some of the surgery and everything. To say the least, I was stoked to have Don performing in this small 150 person venue, and he was with guitarist, bassist, vocalist Mark Bowles. Now, if you're familiar with Yngwie Malmsteen albums, Mark sang on several of them. He sang with Dio's Disciples, and as a member of Dokken, he replaced Jeff Pilson. And if you're a Dokken fan, you know how important Jeff's vocals were on those albums. And none of that useless information pertains to my Don Dokken story. Anywho, Don did a sound check and sounded shockingly fucking good. I looked at our sound guy. I was like, dude, you're a genius behind that board. He goes, that's not only me. He sounds really good. I go, all right, let me talk to him. Maybe we can. It was a digital board. I figured maybe we get Don to let us record it. So I asked Don if it'd be okay if we recorded and taped the show. He said if I did, he'd better not hear it ending up on some counter or bootleg vinyl or anywhere else. He said if it was just for me, sure. And then he thought about it a little more and went, no. Well, I recorded it anyways. What the hell? What's the difference between doing it off the soundboard for my own personal or everybody on their cell phones filming them? Not a thing. So after Don did the meet and greet in the bar after his show, had our sound guy play some tunes, and since there were still people hanging out drinking, Don and I went in the back and poured ourselves some Jack Daniels, and I'm just like fanboy goofing around, asking questions, basically giving probably the best interview ever. And it's easy because if Don loves anything, it's talking about himself. And I don't mean that in some egotistical jack-off way. That guy gives you the good and the bad, and he'll take accountability as much as push it off on someone else too when it wasn't his fault. And so the music's playing, and we're drinking out of these, bourbon glasses, maybe, not shot glasses. And suddenly he's got this weird look on his face, and he goes, and says, straight face as fuck. We never recorded it and he said we never released an acoustic album. Where'd this come from? So I took that glass and I pounded it. It was probably 2.5 shots of Jack Daniels in that one swallow like a shooter. And I just said, brother, how was you tonight? I watched my buzzed and blurry-eyed hero sober up in a blink of an eye, and he immediately said, can you make me a copy of that, will you? And all I could muster was, fuck yeah, I will. So we did. Several hours passed, probably close to 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We got to take Don back to the club. He gathers up all his stuff. He did forget the disc because it was sitting by his wallet, which oddly enough, the following day, he called me and said, hey Lou, I need you to send me my wallet. I have yours. And I was like, what? Don't go misusing that Bret Michaels fan club card in there, or my Kiss Army card. He didn't steal it. We had the identical leather trifold wallet, and he found out when he pulled out my ID. Like, oh shit. Thankfully he had his passport on him, I guess. So no, he didn't steal it because, believe me, he would have been as disappointed in my wallet as I was in his. But again, he sent it back to me. I sent him his. But I was kind of bummed because I was just getting him to talk about the Monsters of Rock tour with Van Halen, Scorpions, Metallica, and Kingdom Come. A lot of drinking on that tour, it seemed, too. But back to the Beast in the East. Setlist is a greatest hits barrage. Dream Warriors, In My Dreams, Alone Again, and Breaking the Chains all make appearances. alongside some deeper Dokken cuts like Sleepless Night and the instrumental Shredfest Mr. Scary. Also has the inclusion of Walk Away, the final studio track that appeared on the original release, recorded by the classic lineup. Adds a bittersweet punctuation mark to the band's golden era. As I said, I have my original press in that Japanese press, but this release, it sounds better. I legit had to put this release on, listen through it, and then I stuck the Japanese one on and went, yeah, okay, if it's not better, it's at least the same. 1,500 copies. It went for like a $50 sticker price, which you could pick up the very good plus copy of Beast from the East original pressing for about 10 or 15 bucks. But this one, again, RSD, stocking. Their catalog's not huge. I own everything they have, and I was just gonna buy it for that, not the flex. But again, I listened to them all, and that one has been on my turntable times. I just wish they would have bailed on the color vinyl, because I know Don said they had recorded other songs that they could have put on there, but because of the time constraint on the vinyl albums back then, they couldn't. I don't know. I give this one a 4 out of 5. A perfect 5 out of 5 on RSDs. Like I said, it's a unicorn. It's like a 10, seeing a 10, whether it's female or male. They don't exist. Now, we'll see down the road if there are more in the hatch. But that's it for now. Go fuck myself now after giving props to Taylor Swift and some of those other picks that rockers are going to cringe over. Remember, an RSD without Taylor Swift is like a gold mine without gold. Be loved, be blessed, be aware. Don't be a sheep. I'm like, go away, you kids are messing up my lawn. God damn it.